Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Today, we're going to be talking about HYLION stock. Before I start the video, guys, please make sure to leave a like on the video below. Subscribe to the channel for more awesome content. Join the family, guys. Let's go on our investor journey together. So today, we're going to actually be talking about HYLION stock. And if you guys don't know what HYLION stock actually does, it's an EV startup that basically produces electrified powertrains for large semi-trucks. Now, as you guys know, this company used to be known as Tortoise Acquisition. It actually had a merger earlier this month, and it became known as HYLION. But ever since then, guys, it has actually not been doing that well. Looking at the 5-year chart, though, this thing IPO'd April 22nd, 2020. You know, it's a fairly new company, up 101%, which is pretty good. But looking at the 3-month chart, up 5%. But guys, this is where it starts to get kind of ugly. You know, looking at the 1-month chart, it is down 60%. This thing was trading at $51, and now it's currently sitting at $20. It's leaving a lot of people confused, and it's leading a lot of people to know, what am I supposed to do with my HYLION shares? I've lost so much money. Do I continue to hold? Do I sell? Do I buy more? Now, you guys have to understand that these EV startups are starting to get a lot of heat because the EV market is starting to get a lot more rampant. People know that the demand is there, and people know that there's a future when it comes to EV companies. Now, as you guys know, there's a lot of EV companies that are not doing too well right now. You guys have to look at Lordstone Motors. You guys have to look at NIO. Actually, NIO's doing very, very well. HYLION is not doing well. Neither is Workhorse stock. So these companies have not been doing so well. You basically have Tesla and NIO that have actually been doing okay. And even NIO's actually not been doing that well. Hit an all-time high and then continuously has been sinking the last couple of days. I know that's probably just due to the fact that the whole market is not doing well. The S&P 500 is also continuing to sinking. This probably has a lot of effect on these stocks as well. But looking at the overall aspect, I'm here to tell you guys that you guys should buy HYLION stock. You guys should buy the dip on HYLION stock, and this is why. Although right now the stock is not doing well, you guys have to look at the bigger perspective that HYLION actually has a big future ahead of itself. You guys have to understand that the market that it's going into is going to be a big market. Being able to produce electrified powertrains for large battery powered trucks, right? It's a market that's untapped. It's a market that has a lot of potential, and it's a market where a lot of money has to be made. You guys have to understand too that, you know, when it comes to these large battery powered trucks, look all over the world, guys. Large trucks are used every single day. The fact that soon enough there's going to be battery powered trucks that are going to save these companies a lot of money. They're going to have a lot of updated technology and a lot of updated features. Companies are going to be gobbling these things up, and they're going to be wanting to start contracts with all these basically EV companies that produce these large pickup trucks. Take, for example, with the Workhorse deal with USPS. You know, a lot of it has to speculate that, okay, like USPS is doing this, or they're basically in talks with them just because they want to be able to save money. Updated features, no gasoline, no maintenance on all these trucks. I mean, guys, the market is going to be there for these. On top of that, you have a lot of people who are super, super bullish on the whole EV market just because the EV market in itself is starting to mature. A lot of people are knowing that there's going to be a want and a need for these EV companies. So the fact that this thing is sitting at $20 that has so much more potential for itself, I would consider a buy. Now, obviously, everything I say in my videos is not financial advice, guys. It's just my personal opinion, but take the time and actually buy the dip on HYLION stock. It's going to be worth it. HYLION actually is already starting up a lot of partnerships, as partnerships with Toshiba and all these big name companies. A lot of basically big time investors basically have a hold rating on HYLION right now. I haven't seen much sell ratings, and that's the fact that they just kind of want to see what HYLION's going to be able to bring to the table and to see if HYLION's going to actually get itself going. You guys also have to understand too that we're in the midst of a pandemic, so basically this thing is actually not doing too bad to the fact that a lot of stocks are not doing too well right now. Look at Tesla, look at NIO, and all these EV companies that are actually doing pretty okay for themselves, being able to expand slowly, but surely they're making their way up there. But once the pandemic is over, and once we find a vaccine and everything gets back to normal, this is where these big EV startups are going to actually be able to make a bigger name for themselves. Like I said, you know, the EV market is starting to mature. Everybody knows there's a want. There's a lot of bullish sentiment, and a lot of analysts are also basically saying, okay, HYLION has a lot of potential. We just have to give it the time that it actually needs. I know a lot of people are like, but invest in success. You know, I have an average of $40. You know, I recommend you guys average down a little bit. You know, pick up more shares while the stocks are still cheap. You guys have to understand, when Tesla was first founded in 2003, it was trading around $15 a share, if you guys don't remember. And, you know, it took time. A lot of people thought that Tesla wasn't going to make it. A lot of people thought that Tesla was going to go bankrupt. But look at it now. Tesla was basically able to build itself an empire. Basically was sitting at $2,300 before the stock split. Now currently sitting around $400. And the thing is, the stock continuously is able to do well. You have to understand that HYLION, NIO, and all these companies are fairly newer. But the difference with these companies and versus Tesla's, now there's more of a demand, there's updated technology, and things are able to expand a lot quicker just due to the demand. And everyone knows that once you have demand and you have investors who are willing to put money to help you expand more, it makes these companies a lot more appetizing. And like I said, guys, Hyln has a big future for itself. I know that Hyln is going to do very, very well. Now, I know what a lot of people are saying. I went ahead and sold my shares. For me, I actually always am averaging down on HYLION. I'm actually very, very bullish on HYLION and itself and the whole EV market, just because I know that right now they have not actually reached their vast potential just yet. Like I said, guys, it takes time for companies to get themselves going. This thing IPO'd April 22nd of this year. I don't expect anything super, super crazy from HYLION stock this year, but I know in the coming years, HYLION is going to have a lot to offer, even having a lot of analysts say, hey, Hyln has a valuable product here. Just give it some time, give it a couple of years. But think about it, guys. When you're investing, you have to be looking at the longer term perspective. Where could Hyln stock be in the next 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, or even 10 years, right? I have a lot of Hyln shares in my retirement portfolio because I know that the company has a lot to offer. I know that, like I said, a lot of people are speculating. And if news does come out that Hyln's not going to do well, I have to go ahead and cut my losses. But you guys have to understand that investing is part of taking risks. And I'm willing to take the risk on HYLION stock because I know, like I said, a lot of bullish sentiment, growing demand in the EV market in itself, a whole market that hasn't even been tapped yet, being able to produce large battery-powered trucks. And the overall fact of it, too, is the fact that, we're in the midst of a pandemic, so growth and expansion is very, very limited right now. But I know that once HYLION gets itself on the road, it lands more contracts and stuff like that, I know that Hyln is going to be able to offer itself a valuable product. But with that being said, guys, that's all I really have to say about the video. Let me know down in the comment section below, guys, what you think of HYLION stock. Do you think HYLION stock is worth the investment? How many shares do you own? And what is your average? I'm very curious to know. With that being said, guys, thank you. Have a great day.